Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Let's Play series for RuneScape Dragonwilds. Now, it's been a while, and apologies for any delays and sort of missed release schedules. It's apparently real life has been rather exhausting lately, so here we are. We are back very firmly in the action, and once again forgetting what some of the controls are, and also being equally rudimentary with our bow skills. But that is part of our brand, so we're just going to live with it. Anyway, in the previous episode, we got the story moving again, and we established that Mr. Wise Old Man, and again, we're not entirely convinced he's worthy of that description, but yeah, you know, it's a story thing, we're just going to live with it. Mr. Wise Old Man had us going to the castle and tracking down what Cathan has been up to. And we established that he wasn't in the castle anymore, and that our next point of searching is going to be a vault, except this vault is going to be in the Whispering Swamp. So that is what we're working our way towards now. And because this episode involves a run through a vault, it has been very action-packed. So I had to do a bit of heavy trimming on the trip to and the trip from the vault so that we could have a reasonably uninterrupted run at the vault itself. So, with all of that preamble out of the way, let's resume the action. Alright, here we go. We have made it to said vault. Now, this vault's a little bit different to some of the other ones, in the sense that there's a little bit of this sort of watery area. There's a few more rats around, and there might be something a bit different waiting for us in terms of a final boss at the end of this vault. So not going to spoil it too much at this stage, but yeah, it is going to be a bit different to what we've experienced so far. Now, there is a lot of stone and a lot of clay available in this vault, but because I really need vault shards and vault cores, and those items are heavy as all get up. Yeah, I'm trying not to mine too much more because I already know I'm going to be pretty chockers by the time we're finished in here. So, yeah, not getting too carried away. This, like, once you've cleared this, if you wanted to, come back in and, mine out all the clay and all the stone, you're welcome to do so. But as I ascribed in previous episodes, you do need a bit of clay, but you don't need ridiculous amounts of it. And same story with stone. So it's just as easy to recover and collect all of that sort of stuff outside of these vaults and just come to the vaults for the story, the ambience, and the cause. Now, I decided to have a bit of an interesting idea in terms of how to take this particular Vault Guardian out, and that is to try and time arrows through these traps, because the spears that come out they're physically there. They will block an arrow, they block attacks, they will damage the Vault Guardians if they were to be hit by them. So but because they spend a lot of the time in place, I think it mucks up the Vault Guardian's ability to path through them. So that's why I'm essentially getting a lot of free shots at this Vault Guardian here, because it doesn't know what to do to get to me. The downside of this approach is I went through quite a few arrows because quite a lot of them ended up hitting the spears and not actually making their way through to the Vault Guardian itself. So, yeah, look, it works. It saves taking a bit of damage. Is it worth the wasted arrows? I'll let you decide that one. Now, apologies for the darkness. I did actually spend a bit of time trying to lighten the footage up sort of post-production. I'll let you be the judge in terms of whether I've done enough or not. I'm still working my way through better ways of doing that in DaVinci. Recently I've sort of helped out my lovely English friend Oladino with her efforts to switch to a different editing suite, and I think I eventually convinced her that DaVinci was definitely the way to go. Hey Ollie, and through my explorations and trying to help her out, I ended up renewing my efforts in terms of trying to get better at DaVinci myself. And I'm just experimenting. This was a fairly straightforward adjustment that I've done this time. It is a bit more than what I've been doing previously. So leave me a comment down below if you think this is a happier medium, I'll say, or if you feel like you want it a bit lighter than what I've done here. Again, leave me a comment down below. It's kind of hard to judge these things pre-upload, because often a lot of stuff, by the time YouTube does its processing, sometimes a bit of the subtlety and the nuance in the shadows just gets, squished, and you end up with a bit less detail without actually intending that to be the case. So yeah, let me know. You're always welcome to leave comments and thumbs ups and subscribing and all that other good stuff. I'll never say no to any of that. So keep it coming. In the meantime, though, we've had lots of combat here. We've taken lots of damage, and we also had a little side room there, which I ended up talking over almost the entire bit of it, but these vaults, sometimes you'll find like stone blocking the way, and you can mine through that either with a mining pick, which is quite slow, or you use your rock explosion. And often in those little side bits, you'll find, you know, other resources or treasure chests or things like that. So yeah, always keep your eye out for those. I don't know that there's ever more than one opportunity for that in these vaults. It's been a number of months since I did my playthrough with Itchy, so I'm still a bit shaky on that in terms of whether I remember seeing any vaults that had more than one kind of place where you could blast through the wall. But look, if we find some more in our journeys, we'll highlight that. But for the moment, I'm pretty sure there is a maximum of one per vault, and I'm going to stick to that story for now. In the meantime, we are pushing past all of these things, all of these traps, all of these opportunities to take stupid amounts of damage for no real reason at all. And we are looking to find essentially the storyline elements in this vault. And we've still got a little way to go. So let's resume our efforts here to thin out the numbers of rats. And yeah, see what else we can find while we're in here. Alright, and here I go again with one of my crazy ideas. Yep, these spiky things, yeah, they hurt, but they also hurt the Vault Guardians as well. So we're electing to host our combat on the edge of the spikes so that we can maybe save a couple of arrows, and yep, sure enough, it works. Is it worth the pain and suffering to do it yourself? Again, I'll let you be the judge of that. If nothing else, it is a bit of fun. Anyway, there is no shortage of Vault Guardians around, so we've got a few more to clear. And yeah, we can... Oh, hello, this looks like something a bit different about that statue. We'll get to that one in a moment, but we've got a few Guardians to clear first. Alright, well, managed to get rid of those fairly easily, and we are rewarded with a chest, and Huh. I thought there was something a bit different about that statue. Maybe it was just the fact that so many of them are damaged normally, and that one just seemed to stand out a bit. But that's alright. Sometimes you will find statues in vaults that you can interact with. And look, we'll go into more detail if we ever find one, but suffice to say, it's actually a good idea to have a chat with a statue when the opportunity arises. Speaking of things arising, we've realised that there is a treasure room here, and we've used our little wind step thing to get up in here, and we are rewarded with some more fat loots. Fat loots. Yeah, okay, so I'm not going to pretend that that wasn't the handful that it was, but I have a sneaking suspicion it was worth the effort. Because that whole thing about statues I was talking about, I have a sneaking suspicion, given the fact that there is a vault core standing in front of this statue, that there is something significant about this particular statue. So, let's see. Oh, hello. We can interact with this statue. Alright, well, let's get rid of this rat first, because we don't want to be interrupted while we're talking to ourselves. Sorry, a statue. And let's see what we can gain from here. Mind fills with knowledge of a new crafting. Oh, anti-dragon shield. Oh, that sounds sexy. Alright, we might have to look into what we need to make one of those a bit later. Given it's anti-dragon, I'm going to guess we probably don't have all the materials yet. But hey, having the recipe and knowing what we need is going to help us be prepared down the track. So, hey, I'm going to call that one a big win. Alright, well, we found ourselves some fat loot. We got ourselves a new recipe. And we still haven't stumbled across what we need to find to figure out what's going on with old mate Cathan. So I guess we're going to have to push on and see what we can do about that. Yeah, we're not even done yet, and we are already struggling with how much we're having to carry around. Now, granted, there is a bit of stuff here that I probably could have just dumped and regathered outside, but I really didn't want to. I wanted to try and keep everything on me because I guess I'm just a hoarder at heart. Stone, though, is something we can definitely do away with, so I've been going to be dumping that 100% of the time. Rune Essence, I do try and keep that because it's good to have a really solid supply because it's not just for making runes. There are some of the crafting stations that need it as well. And early in the game, like we are now, it's something that you don't want to be passing up. Now, speaking of things that we're not going to be passing up, there is a body. Oh, wait, no, it's a dude. And he's got his own spotlight, so does that make him important? I guess so in this case. Let's see what he has to say. Okay, I guess that brings us up to date with the Cathan story as it relates to this vault. Yep, we are going to leave that guy behind because I didn't agree with the way he was talking to me, so yeah, anyway. We flick our lever and we're back in the entry area and we are now presented with our reasonably familiar boss room, although that looks like a really big rat. So, we faced and defeated the Rat King. Rat King. Sounds like a pest removal service, but anyway. We have killed off the boss of this vault, as promised. It wasn't one of those Vault Guardian type bosses. We ended up having to kill a giant rat. He has a few minions. It looks like your combat mechanic, you do need to destroy those minions before you can actually properly attack the boss, but I'd be doing that anyway because in this game, when you get overwhelmed by multiple dudes or critters, you're better off removing the ones that are quickest to remove. I'm going to say ASAP. Just to reduce the amount of incoming damage, so you're in a better position to deal with whatever the bigger threat is. So that's exactly what we did in that fight. Now, we've ended up with three vault cores out of this particular vault, and the vault cores, yeah, they weigh a lot, and they're the one thing we are never going to leave behind. Simply because they have far too many uses, not the least of which is putting down new teleporters. So The more teleporters you've got, just the easier it is to do things like gathering and, running away from bad guys and all of that good stuff. So, never going to say no to vault shards or vault cores. Everything else is pretty optional. That said, though, we're going to keep all of it as well. And as you can see, we are over encumbered. Now, unlike in Valheim where you're over encumbered, your stamina stops regenerating and eventually you just can't move, in RuneScape Dragonwilds, it just reduces you to a walking speed. And that's pretty much what we're doing here. We can't run, we can still fight, but unlike in Valheim where you can actually keep picking stuff up because you're already encumbered. I mean, whether you're carrying, 500 weight or 5,000 weight doesn't make any difference. Once you exceed your encumbered weight limit, anything above that doesn't alter that effect. In RuneScape Dragonwilds, it does cap the amount you can carry. So, and we are at that cap right now. And because, Murphy likes a bit of entertainment from time to time, and to be honest, we were a bit overdue to be attacked by the dragon. Yeah, we're having to suffer through a dragon attack on our way back to base. So we're kind of weaving around. I'm not really panicking at this stage because the attacks that the dragon is doing is just the little pools of, poison. And he didn't hit me with any of those. So I'm okay just to, keep doing the old shuffle here on our way back to base. So that's exactly what we did. And honestly, other than that dragon attack, nothing of any interest occurred between there and here. So it did take me a good 5 or 10 minutes at that speed to get back to base. So yeah, I cut that out because there's nothing entertaining about me doing the shuffle, half a map to get back to base. So we've done our big unload. We're going to do a bit of a repair here in a moment. Now, we got a repair spell, and I can't remember if I used this in a previous episode, so I'm going to include it in this one just in case. But basically, instead of needing materials to repair now, I can use this magical mending. And the way it works is you just chuck the damaged items on the ground, and you cast your magic mending, and then it picks them all back up again. Now, the annoying thing is it doesn't always go back into your inventory in the same order, but hey, what are you going to do? Anyway, now, that was going to be the end of the episode, but then I remembered I have this very messy and completely useless bit of base extension here to try and give me an easier way to get in and up and down from talking to the wise old man. And I've decided to do something about that right now. And it took me a while, so I just chopped all that out, and that's where we're at now. We now have a decent access point for any time we want to come and talk to the wise old man. So, in our little update this time, he's telling us that he's moved on to Gaunfell, which is pretty much what little orky fella told us in the vault. And the wise old man's going to give us a marker on the map here in a moment, which is where our adventures are going to move on to in the next episode. For the moment, though, we've reached the end of this episode. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure you have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.